There we go. Micah, can you see my screen? Is it up? Okay, thank you. Will you take care of the recording also, please?
It has started.
All right, thank you. All right, welcome to our August office hour for charter schools. Let me introduce our team. Some of you are new and may not know our entire team. Martha Morris, our senior director. I'm not sure she is on the call today. I'm Amy Floyd. I'm the director of data and district support. I've probably talked to most of you at some point in time, or at least emailed. Tracy Riddle is with us. She is the director of educator effectiveness, and she works with all of the alternative growth measures. So she works with portfolio and the alternative growth measure, URS, and team evaluations. If you are using the team rubric and you have questions, I suggest you email Tracy. Micah Fager is our director of team training and support. She works with Observer Training and she updates our team website and does a great job with that. Micah is the person who helps with certifying administrators in order to do evaluations. Sarah Brown's not with us today. She is our recognition communication coordinator, and she is preparing for an event that we are having tomorrow night to recognize Teachers of the Year. She runs 8 recognition programs and 4 different advisory councils. She also manages all of our communications. If you are not familiar with the recognition programs, those are available to charter schools, and we would love to have you participate in those. So please email. You can email team questions with any questions, and we'll get it to the right person. And we are currently working on hiring a team contractor. Today, what we're going to talk about is we're going to start out talking about the 23-24 evaluation data. And then we're going to move to some things that you need to start working on for 24-25. We'll share some resources and next steps. So we're going to start out in 23-24. Right now, this time of year, we're working in 2 different school years. So I can constantly remind myself which school year am I talking about. So we're talking about 23-24. And what you need to do first is check for missing measure selections. So in order to generate an LOE, each educator must have all 3 evaluation component scores in TNCompass in order to generate that LOE. Those 3 components are an observation score, an achievement measure score, and a growth measure score. The observation scores, if you're using the team rubric, you are automatically putting those observations in. If you are using another approved rubric, you will upload and import those scores in. You want to make sure you have scores in for all of your teachers. The achievement measure scores we're going to talk about today, some of those you have to put the scores in for, others you do not. And all growth scores will be automatically loaded, so you do not have to put those in unless they're a custom feeder option. To check for missing scores, I suggest using the growth and achievement measure import from TNCompass, and that's what we're going to talk through today. So to find that spreadsheet, you log into TNCompass, you go to the administration tab, scroll down, it's kind of down on mine, you scroll down and you're going to click on the import wizard. It will open up a window and it'll give you options for the type of evaluation data you want to import. And you're going to choose growth and achievement measures. It then opens another window where you can select the academic year. It will open, when it pops up, it will have 24-25 there. Click the down arrow, make sure you select 23-24. You don't want to change measures for 24-25 doing this step. And click continue. This will open up. You'll see your charter. You'll have the name of your charter organization listed first and all of the schools. You can download this report by your entire charter, or you can download it individually per school, whatever works for you in managing this data. And then you're going to click the button that says Generate Template. It'll download a template onto your computer. You'll need to open that template, and it'll look like this. It's just a spreadsheet. You have your teacher, you'll have the year. Check again in column A. It will have the year. Make sure you're in 23-24. It'll have your district ID and your school IDs next. Column C will have license numbers and your teacher names. I have those blocked out. E will tell you the educator type. Are they a teacher or are they a principal? Column F has partial year exemption. That is for teachers, a partial year exemption. If it says yes, it means the teacher did not work for at least 120 days. In most cases, that's the reason. And we're going to start looking in columns G through K. So let's start with the achievement measures. Achievement measures are in columns I, J, and K. We have an achievement measure category, which can be state assessments, off-the-shelf assessments, TVOS, early post-secondary, CTE, and TCAP assessments. State assessments is the TCAP assessments. There's also column J, an achievement measure TNCompass ID. That is a number. I'm going to show you how to find that. And then the achievement measure type. Is it school-wide, grade level? What's the subject area? That information. So we can see on this example that this teacher that we're looking at, the third teacher, does not have a growth measure and does not have an achievement measure in TNCompass. So we need to correct that. To do that, we click on the second tab here. It says all available measures. You'll open that up. This is a massive spreadsheet. It's got lots of information in it. So much easier for you to use if you filter it. So since we're looking for achievement measures, we're going to filter column B to the achievement measures. Their other option is growth measures. Let's get those out of the way. It makes it easier. Then go to column C. If you know what the category is going to be, this teacher we're going to say is choosing an off-the-shelf measure. So I filtered column C to just show me off-the-shelf measures. From there, I have to look through this list and find which off-the-shelf measure the teacher is going to use. So for our example, the teacher is going to use the educator level Ames Web. So we highlight off-the-shelf, the TNCompass ID, and the name of the measure. So you highlight those three columns. Copy that. Click back on the template at the bottom of your original spreadsheet. It will open back up to what you originally looked at. You'll have your teacher names. You find that teacher again and simply paste that there. And you're done. Now we need to look for the growth measure for this teacher. So we go back to our template, or all available measures, I'm sorry. You go back to the all available measures. We're going to filter for growth measure now. The category will be growth measures for everybody, so there's no need to filter that. And you're going to find the measure that this teacher needs to use. You can look through and filter this. If you filter to school-wide, these are the ones you'll get. If you filter to EOC, you're going to see all of your EOCs. But just scroll through there, find the measure the teacher needs. Again, we need the TNCompass ID and the measure name here. So we just highlight the 302 and the measure name. Copy that. Click back on your template. Whoops, sorry. Clicked on it. Click back on the template. Paste that in columns G and H. Save your spreadsheet when you're done. After you save your spreadsheet, you're ready to upload this information back into TNCompass. So you go back to the Administration tab, click the Import Wizard, click Evaluation, Data, and Achievement. It will open a window. Make sure you're in 23-24. Click Continue. It'll open this back up again, but instead of generating a template this time, we're going to click I already have a template and click Continue. This window will open up. It'll, in big print, it tells you it's 23-24. Make sure that's there. Choose your file that you saved on your computer. It'll open up a window just like you're looking for a file. Find it, click on it. It'll insert it here. Then you click Continue. From that point, it will go through these other two processes on the left. It will validate the data and it will process it. You will get a report at the end that says import completed, or if there are any errors, it will tell you that you have some errors and you can correct those errors. If you get a report that has errors and you have trouble figuring out how to correct those, if you'll email Team Questions, we'll help you. So that's how we get our measure selections in. We have to have measure selections in before we can enter scores. So you can begin entering achievement measure scores for 23-24 now. Any that you have. So any of your off-the-shelf measures, if your graduation rates, any of those things that you have, you can go on and enter those. If you're using success rate for your TCAP, you're going to have to wait a little while until you have all that information. So we go back to our administration tab. We go back into the import wizard. This time to put in scores, we're using the evaluation component scores template. You click continue. Again, it will show you all of your schools. The first step is to generate your template. This is what this template looks like. There are lots more columns, but we're just talking about the achievement measure scores, so I had to cut it off so you could see it. Again, we're in the academic year 23-24. You've got your district ID, you've got your license and teacher names. We see a teacher here who has PYE. There's no need to put an achievement measure score in for that teacher. If you see a box that's grayed out like these, those teachers already have scores in there. So the teacher we're going to add for would be this first one. There's a blank. So all you do is type the score in there. It's going to be a whole number, 1 through 5. Whatever that score is, you just put a 1 through 5 there. You save your template for all the teachers. After you put all the scores in, save the template. You go back to the import wizard, click the import wizard, evaluation component scores again, continue. This time, we already have the template. You click continue. It's the same process. Anytime you're using the import wizard and you're uploading something back, it's this same process. So you're going to choose your file that you saved. Then you're going to click continue. You will validate and process the data. There are some resources on the team website to help you with this. It's under TNCompass. It is under the Quick Guide Resources Evaluation and Achievement Selection Import. This steps you through this, just like I did. It's written out more, but it will step you right through that. This PowerPoint and the recording will be posted on the team website in case you need that. There are a couple of other things. This TNCompass Evaluation Data Management Guide is very useful. So you might need to take a look at that. So now we're going to jump school years. We're going to start thinking about 24-25. You all are already in that school year. So for the 24-25 evaluations, the composite weightings have not changed since last year. So teachers who have individual growth scores, either from TVOS or a student growth portfolio, or if you are implementing the State Board of Education Universal Reading Screener as an alternative growth measure, those teachers will have their LOEs calculated using 40% of the observation, 35% of the growth score, and 25% of the achievement score. Your non-tested teachers are the same they've been for the last few years. Observation counts are 70, growth and achievement are 15% each, and administrators are 50%, 35 growth and 15% achievement. This information can be found on the statute and policy page. And it's the very first box under recently released. It's 24-25 evaluation composite weightings. You can look back for the last few years and see those. So we want to think about selections, growth measure selections for 24-25. Every educator has to have a growth measure selection in TNCompass. For most educators, this is going to be a TVOS school level composite. A custom feeder option is available for teachers in schools who do not generate their own growth scores. For instance, a K-2 school will not generate a composite score, and they can use a custom feeder, and that custom feeder score would come from the school where the majority of those students would attend 3rd grade. The measure should align as closely as possible to whatever the educator teaches. I'm going to go back to custom feeder. There are very few schools that use custom feeders in the state. So if you have questions about that, please email. It needs to align as close as possible to what the teacher is teaching. Growth measure selection guidance is on the team website under the growth measures tab. There's a growth measure selection guidance down there, and it would give you it tells you about all of the growth measures that are available to choose from. It explains what tests are in those. This is the first page of it. And so there is basically, we have 6 different types of growth measures. The first 3 listed here are individual value-added growth scores or student growth scores. So we've got the value-added TVAS individual for teachers who give TCAP and tested grades and complete roster verification. We have the student growth portfolios again, and we have the state board approved universal reading screeners. The scores from all 3 of those types are automatically entered in TNCompass, those individual growth scores. But teachers who you think are going to get individual growth scores still must have a school level composite in their TNCompass records. You need to upload one of those school level composites like we looked at earlier. This will only be used if their individual growth score does not generate, but everybody has to have that school level. As a charter school, please do not upload a district score. Charter districts do not generate district scores. You generate individual school level scores. So you don't need to pick district scores. If you've got a custom feeder, you can upload that, and then that score you will have to enter. But that should be used very rarely. Our achievement measure selections. Every educator must have an achievement measure selection. They are in groups: state assessment, off the shelf measures, TVAS composites, graduation rate, ACT, SAT assessments, early post-secondary exams, and industry certifications. Any of those groups can be used for teachers as an achievement measure. Again, they should align as closely as possible to what the educator teaches. If I am an 8th grade teacher, I should not be choosing industry certifications if we are not having CTE classes at my school and if I don't teach those classes. And if I am team teaching with another teacher in the 3rd grade and I teach ELA and that teacher teaches math, my composite should be ELA, not math. You can't choose somebody else's scores. Achievement measure criteria has to be entered when the selection is made. The criteria is, how are you going to determine if you're using state assessments? How are you going to determine what's a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Achievement measure information is on the achievement tab on the team website. We've got lots of different resources there for you. There is a worksheet and there's a fillable worksheet. If you would like to use those, you can actually, in the fillable one, you can type things in as opposed to printing them out and writing on them. This is what the growth measure worksheet, the very top of it, looks like. It's a multi-page document, and all of the available measures are listed in that document. So you can put the teacher's name, the school, what their position is, which kind of helps you with your rationale. What your chosen growth measure is for the which school-wide composite is it. It has to be chosen by everybody. Everybody has to have one of those, even if they are going to generate, you think they're going to generate an individual growth score. This will only be used if their individual growth score does not generate for whatever reason. Your achievement measure and your rationale for choosing that, and then there's a place to list your criteria. There's a place for the teacher to assign it, and for you to keep on file. The achievement measures were reviewed this year. The off-the-shelf measures were reviewed for use and for alignment. We had content experts read the ones that needed to be reviewed for content and alignment. And if the measures were not aligned or they have not been used by teachers in the past, we removed them. So there are Children's Progress for Academic Assessment, Discovery ThinkLink, Fontes and Pinnell, the National Latin Exam, Power School, and Precision Measurement, PMI, and Reading Recovery were all removed because they have not been used by educators in the last few years. We removed 6 other assessments based on a content review, and because they were not aligned to our state standards. Some best practices it would be to have your building level administrators keep a copy of that achievement measure worksheet. In case any questions come up about why that selection is in TNCompass, you can go back to your worksheet and check it. List the specifics of the achievement measure. So if the selection is TCAP 3 through 8 ELA success rate, be very specific about the grade level and the level of the measure. So are we looking at this at the fourth grade? Is it fourth grade ELA success rate? And is this going to be at the classroom level, the teacher level, or the school level? And like if you're thinking about an Ames Web or an off-the-shelf assessment, be really specific about how you're going to measure it. What score will be used? Are you going to use the percentage of students scoring in a particular percentile? Or are you going to use the percent of students that were projected to score at a level? Or just whatever you plan to use. And also think about for Ames Web, you give it 3 times a year. Universal Reading Screeners, you give them multiple times a year. Are you using the first, second, or final? I would suggest the final. But if you're doing you could do a comparison from how many kids increased from the first to final time. Just be really specific. I don't know about you, but I do know that if I did that now, when in the spring I was trying to calculate these scores, I would not remember what we had talked about and how we were going to calculate them. Make sure your score can be easily calculated. If it's something complicated, make notes on that worksheet about how you're going to do it and what you're going to use. It'll just save you time on the back end. We'd like for you, I know we talked about this last month, we need your contacts in TNCompass. So I'm asking that you check your LEA contacts in TNCompass and update them as necessary throughout the year. You can make a change anytime if somebody leaves. Please go in and update that contact for us. They are to see your contacts and enter them. You go into LEA, the administration tab again, and click on the LEA settings tile. In the top right-hand corner, there is a blue button that says contacts. You click on that. This opens up. These are all the contacts we need. You'll see some of these contacts at the last 3 at the bottom say they are for districts only. You do not have to put somebody in there. The rest of them we need contacts for. We need their name, email, phone number. If you need to remove somebody, you hit the eraser on the right-hand side. It erases all 3 fields. So if you just need to update a phone number, don't hit that. You'll have to put the name and email back in. Please check your emails, double check your emails to make sure you hadn't made a mistake in typing them. We use these emails to contact you. I use these emails. I use the evaluation configurator to contact you all for these office hours. We use them for all of our office hours throughout the year. Resources. So we have the team timeline on the on the team website. There is a tab that says Tennessee Charters. There is a charter school evaluation timeline there for you. If the team timeline is on the homepage under recently released, but there's some things on there that don't pertain to charters. They have been removed from this. So on this page, it tells you what the action is, what you need to do. It shows where you can get some more information. There are resources and who to contact with questions. Office hours are posted. These are recorded and posted. They're posted on the office hours tab, and there is a drop down for charter schools office hour. There's also one for AGMs. That's the AGM Universal Reading Screener office hours. If your district is using that and you were not able to attend the last office hour, you may want to watch that. The evaluation configurators office hour is very similar to what we do here. But those are recorded, and if you're implementing portfolios, your portfolio lead will know where those portfolio lead monthly office hours are, and you can watch those at any time. We have another resource for you. It's called the Best Practices Library. It is on the team website. Again, it's under Best Practices Video Library. Um, this is aligned to the team rubric, but it is useful for anybody. Under the general rubric, we have them for the general rubric and the school services personnel rubric. The general rubric, this is a facilitator's resource. So you can use this to facilitate sessions on different parts of the rubric. There is a guide, a facilitator preparation guide that walks you through everything you need and what you need to do to prepare. And all of these indicators include, if you click on one, there is a PowerPoint. Within the PowerPoint, there is a video that demonstrates, you can see what this looks like in practice. These are very useful. So even if you're not using the team website, I encourage the team rubric, I encourage you to look at these because I suspect all of your rubrics have these types of things in them. Email support. These are the emails that people on our team answer, the people I introduced earlier. If you have questions about TNCompass, observations, growth measures, TVAS, alternative growth measure, universal reading screener, achievement measures, or evaluation training, please email team questions. Portfolio.questions is for those people who are implementing portfolio and need help. RV.questions, this is TVAS roster verification that's done in the spring after the assessments are completed. This is how teachers claim students and get their individual growth scores. And then we have compensation questions. These are basically for districts. We got other email support, educator licensure. We get a lot of questions around licensure in the team questions email. That's fine. We don't mind forwarding that to educator licensure, but it does delay your response. So if you have questions about licensure, professional development points, or experience, you can email educator.licensure. TASL information is for school leaders. If you need information on those TASL academies. TN.universal reading screener. If you have questions about how the universal reading screener should be given or the reporting or anything like that, you need to contact them. We just received the growth scores. We do not have anything to do with actually the administration of the test. So if you have questions about that, you need to contact them. And then 10-Ed assessments, you can contact about any TCAP assessments. Your next steps are to share your resources with the building level administrators, provide support to principals on measure selections, and upload any missing measure selections and scores into TNCompass for 23-24. And you can begin working on your 24-25 selections with your teachers. Our next office hour will be October the 24th. These topics are subject to change. If we are near LOE generation, we will talk about data preparation. If not, we will talk about something else. We'll save that till we're closer to time. And as always, email team questions with any questions. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, or you can come off of mute and just ask it. We're a small group. Right. If nobody has any questions, you can have a little time back.